Pretty rough cut, actually. But I think I'm gonna kind of stick a little nail in the edge here. See if I can't throw a board up and see what it looks like.
See ya!
So it's rained like crazy last night. Supposedly it was the 10-year storm up in the Panhandle, and it was pretty crazy. Tons of trees blew over. Had to chainsaw our way out of where we were staying and back in overnight. Pretty crazy. Got a ton of rain, and I didn't really button this thing down well enough anyway. So the tarp kind of blew off, and there's a little water in here drying up. But I've been kicking around, and all my plywood is crazy warped. It wasn't like great from the box store to begin with, but crazy warped from the rain. So I'm gonna get it under here and try and flatten it out a little bit, air it out, and dry. So I'm assuming on this trip I won't get to all the sheathing and roofing and everything, but I took one of the most warped ones, the top one that was super wet, and was able to get it on there and manipulate it how I needed to, and I'm pretty happy with how the gap's all sealed up and everything. So just trying to put a couple walls on, and what looks like the water is just coming in, like it's not even from the drip off of the tarp, it's just penetrating through the sidewalls. So just trying to get a couple walls up and dinking around basically when I take a break from hauling these in, which I'm just dragging in by hand. And it is too much of a workout on my fingers, really, is what it is. So I'm just dragging it. So So it should be apparent by now that I've never done this before. So putting up sheathing is pretty fun because it's kind of bendy, and unlike the framing, which was a little less forgiving. Then I'm running into problems like this guy where I measure my width to put the sheathing in, and I'm like, oh, I'm so happy with it. It's a perfect little door opening. And then I get up here and I'm thinking, wait, my cross piece is nothing to nail into now. So I guess at this point it's probably way easier to just block this off. Yeah, that's what I'll do, block off either end so it has something to nail into other than the king stud and the little supports. But pretty sure we're gonna run into that about 1 billion times doing this stuff. Okay, there you have it. We got one wall that looks done, which was fun, basically killing time in between pulling these sheets in. And I've got about 100 more nails to stick in throughout them, but it kind of makes me happy. And the thing's getting pretty darn sturdy, which is good because it was racking around a little bit in the wind. And with me up there on the roof kind of shaking things around, so I'm happy to have it be a little more sturdy while I'm up there. And it looks pretty good, so that's the rough opening for what would be that sliding glass door. Pretty happy with it. Okay, we got her buttoned up for the night and we're headed back to camp. And it's a nice little overcast evening, so I thought I'd take a video of the walk back from the cabin to the nearest drive-in access, which right now I'm camping at with my family in a little RV. It's kind of like an unofficial campground with a few little spots and river access that people often float to. Some people camp. I think I've ran into a person or two this last long weekend. So we'll have a look at the hike in and point out a couple things. Don't know if you saw any of my previous video, but these tall 4-foot ferns didn't even exist. It was all brown and dead grass still, just 2 weeks ago. Right here's the property line. So looking back at the cabin, it's kind of a big triangle, 1,000 feet of riverfront, and it's sitting on just over 4 acres. Since I've been hiking it so many times, I've actually got a pretty good bushwhacking trail going, and it seems like it's kind of used as a game trail also. A bunch of scat, and seen a couple moose walking in. Black bear scat, but haven't ran into any. Got the dog with me this time. And you'll see there's a couple tricky parts to this hike, especially with the water level so high. This is the highest I've seen it in person. Looks like it can go a little higher without being anything too scary, but it's definitely getting up there. And the property we have is an oxbow, so it's mixed wetlands with a little highlands. And I took the time to scout out a highland, which is what the cabin is on, but I still worry about it getting soggy and heaving or something. So this is normally a little walk down, hop across or shimmy across those logs if you can see them underwater spot, and now it's like 20 feet at least wide, so we hike in and we get around. Hot dog. But it's definitely a bushwhack. And I thought today would be helpful to have my tennis shoe like Vans on if I was gonna be jockeying around on the roof and stuff, which it was for like the 2 boards I did, but otherwise my feet were soaked and it was a shitty decision. Even this used to be a little walkover, maybe a little bit of mud, but luckily this tree fell over. We get through relatively easily. And there's been lots of flowers popping up. Tons of plant life, which is awesome. I actually didn't get a video of it now that I'm thinking about it, but I found a bunch of white morels on the property down by the beach, and that was last time. Came this time where they were, it was totally flooded, so they were all soggy and questionable. But I am super excited to explore the area a little more. It is still morel season. Maybe get off this trail. It looks like it opens up into a couple meadows just past all this thick stuff, but like I said, it's a pretty good bushwhack. Go on. Go on. And while there's some down trees to duck and jump, I kind of like that it's pretty raw. Discourages a lot of, interest in people just hiking back there just because. And I think it makes the walk pretty enjoyable. I'm only ever packing in a backpack, sometimes 2, one on my chest, full of gear, so no more than like, I don't know, probably 80 pounds total, and it's doable. This is the one though that I'm gonna have to take a chainsaw to, because my kids and my wife can go under it, but I can't with the backpack on. So I go up and over, but with 80 pounds on, it's a little precarious. This is the beaver tree. Hasn't quite been able to finish that guy. Maybe the beaver moved on. Also building today, I noticed it's starting to get a lot buggier, and it's been kind of crazy rain the last week and then super humid, so got a fair share of mosquitoes, and the bees were kind of picking on me today a little bit, but not too bad, all things considered, in the time of year it is. And we've been camping here at the river, just at the drive-in access point, and the bugs have not been bad at all. So a little bit of a fire and a citronella candle is all it's taken to keep them at bay. Definitely mushroom season. Sleepy, don't drink that. I'll get you some water. Didn't even think to point it out, but just passed a few piles of moose droppings and a little bear scat actually back there, so if I see some, I'll let y'all know. There's a little beaver work. Seems like they kind of not dam up, but take the hillside a little bit on this river. And down where we are at the river, there's actually like a natural swimming hole. There's your moose scat. It's like a natural swimming hole. And I've seen a couple beaver there actually working. Other than that, not much. This tree came down since I was here last time. Oh wow, that looks crazy. Whew, split. Come on, pup. There you go. Let's go. Just got a mushroom book actually. Have to go back and try and figure out what some of these guys are. They're pretty gnarly looking. But like I said, some of this area has actually been clear cut, so I don't know if you can tell, but just beyond the real brush and trees there, it's actually kind of meadow-like. Look at that sweet pea. Who is it? Go get him. Go get him. And like I said, here's the crew and where we've been camping out. Made it. Another one in the books. Definitely not a bad spot for a camp.